I mocked my husband. The front door slammed so hard the windows rattled, and my heart lurched into my throat. Ethan's boots thudded against the hardwood. Each step a gunshot in the quiet house. I stood frozen in the kitchen, the half-chopped onion, on the cutting board blurring through sudden tears. "You're leaving?" I choked out, my voice cracking like thin ice. His suitcase sat by the door, a silent accusation, its leather handle worn from years of use. He didn't look at me, just kept his eyes on the floor, his jaw tight, his knuckles white around the car keys. I'd laughed at his paranoia about my best friend, Nate, for months, called it jealousy, insecurity, even childishness. Now, the air between us was thick with something I couldn't name, something that felt like betrayal, but I didn't know whose. Ethan and I had built a life in this creaky old house, with its chipped blue shutters and the garden I'd spent years coaxing into bloom. We'd laughed over late-night wine, planned a future with kids, a dog, maybe a cabin by the lake. Nate was my constant, though. My college roommate, my confidant, the one who'd see me through heartbreak before Ethan ever came along. When Ethan started questioning our late-night texts, the way Nate's hand lingered on my arm, I'd roll my eyes. He's like my brother, I'd say, waving off Ethan's furrowed brow. "You're being ridiculous." But last week, when Nate hugged me a little too long at the cafe, his breath warm against my ear, I'd felt a flicker of something I buried fast. Ethan saw it. He always saw everything. The signs were there, piling up like leaves in autumn. Nate's messages came too often, too late at night, always with a teasing edge that made my stomach twist. "Miss you," he'd text, and I'd tell myself it was platonic, nothing more. Ethan's silences grew heavier, his eyes searching mine like he was waiting for me to confess. I couldn't, because admitting I felt something, a spark, a pull, would unravel everything. So I mocked him instead, called him clingy, laughed when he asked why Nate was always around. But now, with Ethan's suitcase packed, the weight of my denial pressed against my ribs, suffocating. "Where you going?" I asked, my voice small, the onion sting mixing with the tears I couldn't stop. Ethan finally looked at me, his green eyes raw, like he'd been crying for days. "I found the messages, Claire," he said, his voice low, jagged. "The ones you didn't delete." My stomach dropped. I'd been careful, hadn't I? I'd erased the flirty ones, the ones where Nate called me gorgeous, the ones where I'd replied with a winking emoji, telling myself it was a joke. But Ethan's phone was in his hand, and I knew. He'd seen it all. "I didn't do anything," I said, stepping toward him, my hands trembling. "It's just Nate. It's always been just Nate." But the words sounded hollow, even to me. Ethan's laugh was bitter, a sound I'd never heard from him. "You let him in, Claire. You let him closer than me." He turned toward the door, and panic clawed at my chest. I grabbed his arm, the wool of his jacket ruff under my fingers. "Please, Ethan, don't. We can talk." My voice broke. Had I meant it? Had I wanted Nate's attention, his warmth, his danger? The truth was a knife, twisting in my gut. He shook me off, his face a storm of hurt and rage. "I trusted you," he whispered. "I trusted you, and you made me feel like a fool." The door was open now, the cold October air rushing in, carrying the scent of damp leaves and regret. I wanted to scream that I loved him, that Nate was nothing, but the lie stuck in my throat. Because Nate wasn't nothing. Not anymore. Then came the twist, the one I didn't see coming. Ethan stopped, his hand on the doorknob, and turned back. "You should know," he said, his voice barely audible. "Nate's married. He didn't tell you, did he?" The world tilted. My best friend, my confidant, the man I let blur the lines, he'd been lying to me too. Ethan walked out, the door clicking shut, leaving me in a house that felt too big, too empty. I sank to the floor, the onion's sharp scent mingling with the salt of my tears, and realized the betrayal wasn't just Ethan's to bear. It was mine, too.